For come on. Now, let's be honest. Traffic. The traffic is the most important. Tire warm up, everything. This is important. This is the only priority we have. Let's focus on that and everything will be fine. Otherwise, we are going to be out in Q2. We are lucky already to be in.
Copy, understood.
This is Paddock 43, the podcast, your weekly rundown giving you all things F1 from both on and off the track.
From races, trades, rumours, the lifestyle, and all the things that come with the F1 world.
We are Amy, Elle, and Pat. Let's get into it. We are live crossing to Barcelona, where Daniel Ricciardo is currently just out of surgery and Patricia is there. Pat, can you tell us the latest?
Run to the hospital.
Yes. May or may not have stalked his doctor, and I found the hospital that he works at.
Things that we
Not for
don't want to
stalking
admit on a
purposes, but-
public forum, but we are.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
purely for entertainment purposes. Like, how good would that be? Like, hey, Danny, I know you're bored, but do you want to come on our podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good
Hey,
idea.
Danny, you're just come out of surgery. You're probably drugged up, so great time to get some
Perfect
truth out
time
of
to
it.
get him on. He can
Maybe-
tell us all the juice.
Yeah, maybe even just like hit up the girlfriend, Heidi, and be like, Heidi, do you need any help?
Heidi, do you need some chicken soup?
Yeah.
I'd make a fantastic
Good
chicken
stuff.
noodle soup.
Well, if you haven't already worked it out, Pat, she is overseas. She is joining us live from Barcelona.
Lucky girl.
Just also a quick one. Shout out to Valtteri Bottas. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday
happy
to the
birthday.
Darling
man.
boy. Why does it darling boy?
The darling
fuck?
boy.
He's a darling, I guess.
Darling.
Are we
How
all
old
still
is he,
feeling a
Kat?
little bit delusional about what happened on the weekend?
Yes.
Honestly.
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 Zandvoort's my new favourite track.
I'm with you.
I loved that. I was
Yeah.
like, please provide that every year from now on.
Narrow, short, twisty.
You know what it reminds me of? You know, what's that thing? Is it the velodrome? The cyclists go on,
yes.
how it's like on that angle. The track reminds me of that.
Yeah, like turn 3's 18-degree angle.
And then
Yeah.
I was like, how fast would an F1 car go on a velodrome?
Well, it's very like, it's almost like a go-kart track, but
It's a very fun track.
F1 cars. So I'm describing, you
No,
know what I mean?
No,
But,
it is.
Gotta make
it,
jelly bean.
it feels like a really fast go-kart track.
I feel like if
Do you know what it makes me think of? Sorry, I think of on Beach Road in Beaumaris, there's like a turn between kind of Beaumaris, Blackrock. And the road actually, this is in Melbourne for our international listeners. Beach Road, it's all along the beach. And it literally inclines as well. And I remember when I was young, I was thinking, this is fascinating. Fascinating.
It's just so much fun.
And it's just such an interesting track because it's like right on the water there. You got the
Yeah.
North Sea there. You know, spectators.
It's on the sand dunes.
Yeah, well, spectators can't drive, so they have to ride their bikes. So they get public transport or like they drive to a certain point, and then they have to ride in. And apparently there was just a sea of thousands and thousands of bikes, like so all just lined up because
Because is there only like there's only one kind of road in?
yeah something like that. Like the town's
God.
population for Zandvoort is 17,000,
It's so little.
so there's nothing
Wow.
there.
Yeah.
And then you're expecting they have
Well,
sold
small.
out Grand
Well,
Prix.
now there's an epic Grand Prix
Yeah.
there.
They had, what was it, 400,000 people across the 4 days or something like that.
Didn't we have that in
Absolutely sold out.
Melbourne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the highest attended Grand Prix, I think, ever.
Really?
I think that was the start.
Incredible.
I could
That's
be wrong. That's why
crazy.
I absolutely rushed to jump on pre-sale for some even just GA tickets today. I was like, ooh, if I don't use these, someone else will. But
Yeah.
I was going to say, what's more quintessentially Dutch than bikes?
exactly.
Like,
Waffles.
so cute. And stroop waffles.
Speaking of quintessentially Dutch, the pre-race entertainment, please tell me you both watched it. Please, please. Closing my eyes and I'm hoping.
Are you
No
talking
one-
about the lion and the guy in
Or
the
are you
orange
talking about
suit?
like the EDM music being
I'm
blasted?
talking about the EDM music being
Yeah.
blasted, all the marshals dancing.
Martin Garrix.
And
Was it Martin
then,
Garrix?
yeah, and then Andrea
Yeah.
Rulu. Oh, I always forget his last name. Like, you know, he's got the orchestra there and then all the ladies in
Oh
their
my
little
God,
outfits.
yes.
Like,
I could only watch a little bit of it because I woke up a bit late this morning. I was feeling sick. I had my alarm set for 5:50 to get up and watch it. I didn't get up till 8 o'clock. And then I was like, I have so much to do today.
But sometimes your body needs the rest.
Yes, exactly.
I was saying to Elle, I went down to, there's like a sports bar near my auntie's house. I was like, I'm going to watch it here. And vibes were up. But I was saying, I think next ones I'll probably watch from home because I couldn't listen properly. There was also like multiple screens. There was also some EPL football games going on. So I was like, I need to focus. And then my auntie, my uncle, my mum kept talking to me and I was a bit like,
that's always a problem watching
focus.
it at like bars and stuff. It's like you need to concentrate and everyone's talking. You're like, shut up. This is really important.
Yeah.
And it was a race that you had to focus on as well because there was just so much happening. So much happening. So I reckon we should get into it with practice. But before we
get into it,
I don't think anyone cares about our weekends at this point because there was so much to talk about the race. But anyway, let's just quickly go. How was our weekend? Okay. How was your weekend?
My weekend was obviously great because the F1 was back, and so I was watching that. Duh. I think we're all going to have the exact same answer, except Pat's going to be like, I flew to Barcelona. And then I also went down to Phillip Island to the Grand Prix track down there. Nice. So there was a cycling race there that Tom entered. So went and watched that. What about you?
Zoom, zoom. I did absolutely nothing. On Saturday, I did not leave my house.
Lovely.
It was great. And then I stayed up, watched practice, F2, qualifying. And what did I do yesterday? I don't remember. Nothing again. I mean, I'm pulling at you.
Yeah, I was going to say, roles are reversed.
Yeah,
what's happening?
I did nothing. I'm just getting old.
What about you, Pat?
Yeah, weekend. I mean, I flew out Friday night, so most of the weekend was spent traveling. But shout out to Emirates that I was able to watch practice.
Woohoo.
Yeah, that was good.
Except I missed probably the most important part of practice too, which we'll get into. But no, yeah, in Barcelona, it just feels so good to be back. For me, it kind of feels like home here just because I've got family here and it's nice to sort of settle into life here before things start to get very crazy.
Before she gets
it's
married.
Funny, I came here to tan and literally hasn't rained in 3 months.
Sun
And
safe
it's been
tanning.
pouring. I actually thought of your partners because there was like the Barcelona equivalent of the Tour de France on the day that I arrived. So my auntie and I were like, let's go walk and watch, and in the rain, watching the cyclists come by. But no, it was good. And I think yesterday it was kind of good that it rained because I was able to just focus on Grand Prix. But yeah, good weekend.
Lovely weekend for you.
Honestly, like I'm so happy that the first race back was that entertaining.
Like the best.
It kind of made up for the boring, silly season, but then also it's like the silliness is kind of like
This
starting
is-
now.
Yeah, I was going to say this has kind of almost been like
Yeah.
a silly season, just let
And
alone
that-
like the last weekend. I mean, so many rumors, and I don't know if we want to get into rumors at the moment. No,
Silly season
do
delay.
you want to?
Oh, I mean, I'm just going so many rumors, but I
Oh.
don't mind. We can do the rumors.
Wow. Okay, this is more than just a Dutch Grand Prix. This is like silly season is starting to come out. Was that Yuki could be possibly going to Williams, and then
What?
Yeah, and
I
then
haven't read. I actually have not read too much about
Logan
rumors.
Could
So
be dropped, and so then where does that place Logan and Mick Schumacher? Because the rumor was that Logan was going to go and Mick Schumacher was going to take Logan's seat. Except we'll get into it after Logan's performance anyway. And then if Liam isn't picked up by anyone, it says a lot for like the Red Bull Junior team. But Liam's performance, I don't think. Obviously, we know that he replaced Daniel Ricciardo for this weekend, and he will at Monza next weekend. But I don't think we can judge off that performance because he was testing out the car pretty much. He
yeah,
wanted to learn.
I mean, he did pretty well,
Did
and
pretty-
he was kind of thrown like absolutely anything and everything that could happen.
that
in
race was
F1.
just hectic. But then helmet's language also changed. He said nothing's guaranteed with Checo, but he also I feel like he always says the opposite thing to Christian Horner, and I feel like maybe they do that on purpose, like to like team.
They probably
tag
do
team
it just. It's like a PR.
to confuse.
It's
everyone.
PR, I
Yeah.
reckon.
They're playing with us because if not, it's too obvious.
Mm.
They're
It is.
throwing out two things. The one thing I was going to say about Liam though was I think that Nick de Vries is such a good example that you can't just have one race and be ready to race. Like I think maybe Nick de Vries least was like a good learning curve. And it might be good for teams to realize you can't just have one drive and be good to go. Like,
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
It just sort of places like the AlphaTauri teams, obviously Red Bull's junior team. So where does that place their juniors in their development squad? Like, is there anyone that's like, obviously Nick wasn't good enough to stick around.
I think we'll just see how Liam Lawson goes. But then also I do have questions now about I have questions. Like Daniel Ricciardo breaking his hand, yes. We all know that they have like a great team around them. They can come back within like 2 to 3 weeks.
FYI listeners, that happened.
Yeah, so Daniel Ricciardo broke his hand. He broke his 5th metacarpal. And he'll be like, so typically they're immobilized for 3 to 4 weeks, but then because apparently it was like a really clean break, which is good. But these can take months. Like these breaks can take months. And the fact that like, if you think about where he's holding the steering wheel, there is so much pressure on that joint. And it's just like, how are you going to be able to hold the steering wheel? Yeah, exactly. The G-force like going 300 and something kilometers an hour.
How did Lance do it? I mean, it was his wrist, wasn't
That's
it?
right.
Yeah.
But it's the same surgeon that Daniel's just seen.
Yeah. But I wonder what would be more not painful, but what would be more like compromised when you're driving? Like if you're comparing Daniel and Lance's injury, what would be worse?
So like, I feel like a wrist, you never know. They could have had like a splint sort of thing holding Lance's wrist in place. Whereas the hand,
to be Daniel Ricciardo right now, I'm like, drive. What are we doing?
And like the wrist controls the hand, you know.
I reckon the hand would be harder because the wrist you can kind of move with your shoulders, like
with the what?
Sorry, like instead of moving your wrist, you can move the steering wheel with your shoulders. You need to see what I'm doing.
But
right
like
now,
his hand is more the grip, not necessarily like
that's
turning.
what I'm saying.
It's
I
just
feel like the
the
hand will be
the
more
grip.
impacted.
Yeah. So then that makes me think about what if this
agree.
compromises Danny's potential seat for next year.
I had this thought as well, and I was like, could this force him
It's
into
really sad.
retirement? But then apparently Helmut was saying that he's still in his like peak years.
Yeah.
So that it's not gone for good, but they're hoping Danny's back for Singapore. But Singapore's not an easy track. That's bumpy, it's hard, it's hot.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be doing that? And it's long, like with, you know, fresh pins and metal in your hand. Like,
I'd be surprised if he's ready for Singapore because I was thinking more Qatar or the United States because 3 to 4 weeks typically completely immobilized to allow the break
he'll do anything to be at Las Vegas. We know that one.
I mean, like, they're basically miracle workers, these surgeons and like doctors and physios.
Why couldn't this have happened at least before the summer break?
I know.
Like he would have had all that time to recover.
It's just typical though.
It's like the worst possible. I mean, obviously there's
Bloody Oscar Piastri's forced him out of his seat twice.
Well, it all happened during practice, and he said it's either the wall or Oscar.
Yeah, that's like Big Brother
and
vibes.
when you watch it, you're like, yeah, okay, it was the wall or Oscar. And so, and he just didn't move his hand quick enough. I think that's what they said was happening. Like he just didn't take it off the steering wheel close enough.
Here's a thought. Considering he could have moved his hand, do you think maybe because he hasn't been driving for a long time, it could have been avoided because he's a bit out of practice? Like, do you think
I don't know if he's out of practice. I just think he likes a headline. I reckon besides
make it about me.
Yeah, besides Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo is probably one of the most talked about drivers this year. The amount of like funny media that he's done, like when he wasn't racing, and then is he coming back and where's he going? I think there's a lot happening there.
But then, like, I don't think you'd compromise your body for a headline.
Yeah,
that would hurt.
Well, hey, we were talking about it last week. Renault, 2008 Singapore Grand Prix fixed race. That's compromising your body. But I don't think this is definitely not the same situation before anyone is trying to compare. So what else happened in practice, guys? Like what are we thinking? Oh, obviously for me, I was just like Danny, and then there's a lot of red flags.
Yeah, just the red flags.
A lot of red flags this whole weekend.
Turn 1 just had it out for the drivers.
Yeah, they were all just going straight across that gravel. Straight across.
It's good they have that little exit road.
The funny one was when Nico Hülkenberg crashed, and it was like moments on camera. he crashed. But moments before, Gunther was on camera via the pit wall telling the media and the cameras how amazing Nico Hülkenberg is.
Oh, my God,
He's
yeah,
so happy to have
true.
signed him again.
Oh, yeah, so,
And then he
yes.
just went straight into a wall. I was like,
He jinxed it.
yeah.
I'm kind
Gunther.
of surprised that they both resigned.
Well, I think there's not many other people in the pool that can
Yeah.
drive an F1 car except to compete with the level that Max and Red Bull is at.
No one
I think
can
that's what
compete.
these teams are like. That, you know, that's why they're saying that Joe Gagnon, he might be out because they might not be able to afford him anymore. It's all coming down to money and all this sort of stuff.
At the end of the day,
I
like,
think-
they're not going to be able to get to Max's level. It's
No.
like, what's the point of even trying now? Just be in your own race now.
Yeah. And I think as well, Haas, people really like Kevin and Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love Hulkenberg.
I love saying his name.
So I think
Hulkenberg.
that I feel like Haas has this like kind of loyal band of followers that just appreciate their incompetency.
Mm. Yeah.
And then also like accept their small wins. Like it's always nice, you know, when we're like, oh my God, they got a point.
No, I do
There's
agree.
people that like them.
Yeah, there is. But also,
Yeah.
if people didn't realise, Liam Lawson stepped in for Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
He was a 21-year-old New Zealand driver.
But that was at qualifying.
He did last practice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So he
Sorry.
did
No, yeah.
practice 3.
Yeah, so that was at practice
Yeah.
3 that he stepped in, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, P3. And I felt so bad for him. I was like, you poor guy. You're stepping into like one of the hardest tracks. One go in
I
practice.
know.
And then qualifying was just
Good on him.
wet,
Just
dry.
I mean, first of all, Q1.
Tell me how you
amount
feel.
of- The amount of cars locking up at turn 1, it was just like, it was nuts. And someone was trying to blame the wind.
Yeah, because I was saying it's
Max.
a tailwind into turn
Yeah.
1.
Max was
heavy
like,
break. Yeah.
It's the wind. It's the wind.
And then he's like, I have no grip. And I was like, shut
I
up.
know. And it's,
Such a ninja.
That's his
Yeah.
like token line is I have no grip. It's like when he says that, the car's actually feeling really
I feel
good.
like he's just trying to like throw people off.
100%.
Like,
30
surely.
seconds ahead of everyone. Like, what more do you want?
He was asking what's
Mhm.
wrong with the car. I was like, there's nothing wrong with the car. I will say this now, though, before I do forget.
Mhm.
And there was this moment during the actual race, not during qualifying or practice watching Max, but the actual race, and particularly on the podium, where I just felt so much respect for Max.
Mm.
Yeah.
I just
He's an incredible athlete.
I hadn't had that before,
Really?
and I was like,
About time.
I now get because I was getting frustrated with a lot of people of like, you know, we want to see other people win and be on the podium and stuff like that. But I was like, that's pretty phenomenal what you've just done.
Mm.
And I think there's
Yeah.
also respect for the fact that that was a hard ass race. That was not easy for anyone. But
I felt so sorry for the team strategist. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
anyway, let's
But,
quickly
yeah.
cover qualifying
Cover
before we
qualifying.
like deep dive into
Well,
it.
so I was gonna sorry, go back a step to practice 2. Lando beating Verstappen.
Yeah. Lando had really good pace in both practice and like qualifying. I was like, go
Good man.
Lando. But the poor man.
And Albon getting third. Albon getting third as well in practice 2.
Albon was just, he was putting in pace into the Williams,
He was,
which
he
was
did
really
so well.
good. I love seeing Williams with pace. And then like, oh, I can't remember, was it after practice? No, it was after qualifying. I'll say it now. But when George was praising Alex and Williams,
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that was so
I
sweet.
loved that. Yeah, I was all for that. As
You
well.
could tell how happy he was for them. And I was like, I
I-
wish you were still there
yeah.
with Alex.
I was thinking about like their friendship, Lando, George, and Albon, because George
Three
was
Musketeers.
talking about being like, you know, we spoke to Albon and we're like, you know, we know that you're not going to be used to this pace at like, you know, right at the front in the race, but we need you to work hard to hold off the guys behind us. And obviously things didn't go to plan, but
I don't think
let's-
much went to plan. in
Yeah,
that
I
race.
mean, well, if we jump back into qualifying, like we know obviously Max was complaining in turn 1, but Ferrari was having a bit of a disastrous weekend. Like Carlos, he fucked up. No one warned him that Oscar was there when he was coming out of
yeah.
the pit, and Oscar was not happy, and Carlos was not happy. But,
But
I'm
also, like, you
should-
can't blame them.
Well,
I don't think.
okay, so Carlos, they said that Carlos wouldn't have been able to see an Oscar,
Mm.
but his team should have known that Oscar was there. So
yeah,
the team's
so
not
they should have
communicating.
told him, but they didn't. Shock me. Ferrari not doing the right thing.
So the sports bar that I watched the race at, it's like all Italians, and I was like, Forza Ferrari. They're like, yeah, and there was just face palms the whole day.
I was face farming.
Head shaking, like this is just embarrassing. Whole time.
I just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I was riding on the bike just watching Ferrari, and I was just like, I was pissing myself laughing. I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
But then at Q3, we did have someone do something. Logan Sargent,
Yes,
first US man,
since 1993,
To
the
be
year we were
in-
born.
top 10.
Then he got too excited in Q3 and crashed.
Yep.
Of course, that
I was like, my guy,
cheeky
come
little red
on.
flag.
That was another one of the red flags.
Also, Hamilton out in Q2.
Yes,
I know that hadn't happened since Miami, was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Did he just got stuck behind traffic, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He just wasn't performing this weekend. It wasn't his weekend,
Unlucky.
unfortunately.
You know what was his this weekend? His
But I was
outfit.
going to say, don't say his outfits. I hated his outfits this
Oh,
weekend.
really?
Yeah.
I loved race day. The race day
I
outfit
couldn't-
did
Giving Nate
things.
some
I was like, I think it's because I would wear that.
I couldn't
I was
do
like,
any of them. I was like, you look like a fly that's like about to go into the Matrix. I was like, I'm really confused. What's happening?
I honestly feel like Lewis Hamilton can wear anything and look good. Like he can wear a paper bag, and I'd be like, "Bravo, you look fantastic."
I mean, but I think George Russell's outfit was my
I was
favorite.
like, "No,
Yeah.
no."
No,
Yeah, no, George did it for me.
You
Ah.
agree
Daniel looked good in his new Enchante stuff, but
Mm.
I was like, I really like that cardigan, but I'll never order it because I know it'll take 8 weeks to get here.
Where's that cardigan? I didn't
Apparently, it's going to be Enchante. It was just like
see. Is this like pre?
breaking.
I guess he'd have
Yeah.
he'd had stuff a
Yeah.
year in advance.
samples. Well,
Maybe I should protest outside of his hospital room.
maybe he should because
Mm.
Enchante merch takes too long. Enchante merch takes too long.
I put it on TikTok
People what they
unboxing
want.
my Enchante merch, and the amount of people that messaged and commented saying that they waited over 8 weeks in Australia for their merch, they couldn't believe it, and also how much it cost. So they're not.
I
doing something
I
right.
wanted to do an order, and then I looked at the shipping, and I was like, I actually just can't justify this.
Yeah.
right
Amy,
now.
let's do once I get back. Let's do an order.
Do you want to do an
together.
order? Do you want to do another order? Okay.
Maybe.
Can we
Group
just make
order.
a pact that whenever we order merch from overseas, we
It's
all
gotta
do
be
it at the same
together.
time? So that way we just pay $40
If-
between all of us.
If any listeners out there also want to jump in on this order frenzy, please send us a DM. We can do just like a big bulk order.
They'll get this order and they'll be like, this is a whole shipping container going to
They're
Australia.
like, is this like a wholesale order? You
Yeah.
guys can
Yeah.
resell this.
We'll just resell it here. in
I
Australia.
would.
It's not a bad idea.
It actually isn't a bad idea.
All right, before we get, we keep talking about Enchante. It is great kit, but anything else that happened in qualifying?
I think mainly, just Alex Albon and his pace, but then also, I was going to say Lewis. He did not have pace. Lando had pace.
Lando
as
did
well.
really well. Oscar was doing well in qualifying as well.
Mm.
At first, and then obviously he sort of like slipped back down there, start to number 8. Who else was?
Well, there was Charlotte Leclerc's crash
Oh.
right after Logan Sargent's crash. I was just laughing at all the drivers like sitting on the edge with their arms crossed. Like,
Mm. Woe is me.
That is possibly the best meme to come out of this F1 season. Of everyone, you've got George, Max, and Lando celebrating, knowing that they're going to be at the top of the grid, and Carlos is just like leaning there, like on the fence, just watching them on the TV after he's been sitting there. It was a big old mood. I'm surprised no one like came up to him and like was like, "Do you want a drink or something like this?" Like, just
Here's a beer.
Yeah,
Which would be like the
He
first
didn't-
thing a Dutch fan
didn't-
would do.
yeah.
Walk over the beer.
he did not want to move. He
Yeah.
was so happy there. He was like, "Yeah, stuff
I'm
it."
chilling.
Yeah.
and so much good content.
Mm.
So many good memes came out of this
So
weekend.
many.
What were your favorite ones?
Mine's it's one on F1 Troll, and it's for Liam Lawson. It's like his first F1 race, and it's this video of, I can't remember what war movie it is. It's is probably
yeah,
really
he's
bad.
running
Like
out.
he's like running out and people are like running past him and like bombs are going off and he's like running and then it's like Leclerc, boom, they hit him. And then he gets up and keeps running and then something else happens.
Well, Liam Lawson, that was his they said that every Formula race that he has debuted on, he has won.
He's won, yeah.
And then when they were interviewing him before the race, poor guy, felt really bad. They were like, so that's probably going to end today because you're not going to win. Because obviously he started at the back of the grid. I was like, it's a little bit mean. Like,
oh my God, no, I loved this meme. And it was like two people in tires with like little sticks hitting each other. And they're like Ferrari pit crew during their pit stops.
The memes are like taking the piss about Ferrari's team were probably the best.
I think we need to
100%.
address. Yeah, I think we need to address Ferrari right away because what the fuck was that?
I
We
mean,
need to address the elephant.
The elephant in the room is that the fact that they didn't know he was coming in, apparently. And so they
I
weren't
just
ready.
don't
They told him
understand
to
that.
stay out.
I don't understand.
So for anyone that doesn't know what happened, Pat, do you want to run us through what exactly happened?
Honestly, I think I don't know how many. It was the first like 10 laps or so. Charles Leclerc came into pit, and you know, something basic, a tire change. You know, you expect the crew to have the tires ready, but they did not have the tires ready. Or was it the front left,
was
or
all
something?
of them,
No,
wasn't
they
it?
didn't have any. So they
Cool.
Ferrari told Charles because it was lap 2 actually. So that's how early on it was the race. But this is the thing, so much happened in those first like 13 laps. It felt like the whole race.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys felt that.
I
way.
was like, what do you mean we're only like not even a quarter through the race?
I
And
know.
all this has happened.
But so it was lap 2 and they told Charles to stay out. And he said, no, I'm coming in. And he went to go pit and they were like, oh shit, he's here. And they had no tires.
It's like they have one job. They can't even do their one job.
Well, they can't even communicate with each other. That's the issue.
They're having their siesta.
Literally.
Like, for a tire race strategy weekend for the Dutch Grand Prix, it was very interesting because typically you would think everyone pits twice.
Didn't they
and
pit like 6 or 7 times?
Yeah. That was not the case. That was
Pit crew would have been like, we need a raise from this race.
it
It was
was
absurd.
chaos. I mean, also Checo, it was his 8th time in 13 races starting outside of the top 6.
That's kind of like, I'm like, meh.
It's like standard now.
But I mean, it was kind of cool that the top 6 drivers were all from different teams. Because you know how sometimes it was always like Red Bull, Mercedes,
Oh, yeah.
McLaren. But it was like, it was a nice little mix.
All very different, yeah.
I liked it.
Well, also then their formation lap, like Max was going so quickly. It was almost like he was like trying to do like a wave to the fans.
Liam Lawson at the back couldn't keep
Yeah.
up.
Well, so it was started raining.
I got little
Yeah,
legs.
exactly that. It started raining though, and Max is then already at the front of the formation on the grid waiting to go, and had to wait like a whole extra 30 seconds for everyone else to catch up.
He's got too
So
excited.
then I was like, this is going to fuck up his tires. He's going to have a bad turn 1. And obviously he didn't. But I was like,
He was in the lead, like he's always in the lead by turn 1. But the gap he had by turn 3,
Yeah.
I was like, bro, can you just chill?
he had a great getaway. And then like Alonso just like boom, 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 climbed on up there. And then everyone was pitting after that first lap.
The other thing I was going to say about Ferrari was and Charles Leclerc, which kind of this incident ended up causing his demise in the race. But Charles Leclerc had contact with Oscar Piastri, so he had to have his front wing changed, and then he kept driving. But I think it was just the car was a little bit damaged.
Poor
And
Charles.
then he had a DNF.
I honestly, like, after his radio message in qualifying and then after what had just happened, I'm almost convinced he will leave Ferrari. That radio message was so angry and there was so much passion behind it. I was like, this man's done.
He also, I think Charles wants to know where he's going to be in 2025. He wants longevity and stability.
Ferrari
And
has no
He
stability.
does not have that at Ferrari. there still are rumors that if a seat opens up at Ferrari, that Lando might jump ship. I heard that again today as well. So that'd be interesting, but I don't know if that'd be the smartest move. But again, it's like
it's almost like they all just want to be able to say that they've driven for Ferrari, even though it will probably like ruin their careers. Because I feel like if he had Charles in like a Red Bull, he'd be flying. Like he may not be as fast as Max, but give him the right car, he'd go fast.
Yeah, well, you can see them all trying so hard to stay out there and compete with Max. Like Max pitted, what was it, lap 3? I think he pitted, and George and Lando were at that point position 2 and 3 because everyone else had pitted lap 2.
Max came in at 8th on the thing
and just climbed right back up.
Oh my God, I swear I went.
And George and Lando just stayed out there on their tires for like so long. And they're like clearly skidding the fuck everywhere. It's pissing with rain. They're just like, hold on.
It's also like, it's like, Lando, did you not learn your lesson in Sochi? Staying on softs in the rain. It gets you nowhere but to a wall.
It all went chaos. And then, George and Lando obviously pitted and they just never climbed back up. And then all of a sudden, Joe was in the top 5 and he was like position 2 and 3 for like 7 laps or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, Joe Guanyu, what is happening?
Liam was sitting in 11th. And I was like, you're just outside the points. Oh my God.
And then Checo was in front.
Checo was leading, wasn't he?
There is a map where it's like all crisscrosses.
Yeah,
like
I
where
saw
they
that.
started. F1 posted it and we'll reshare it on our page because it is just insane of like where everyone started and where everyone finished. Because then Checo got undercutted by Max, which was obviously a team decision because they wanted to guarantee that Max won the race.
That annoyed me.
It annoyed me. It obviously annoyed Checo. I wouldn't be surprised if Checo was like, fuck you, I'm done. Because he could have won that. And he also would have gone down in history for taking away Max's 9 races in a row.
Yeah. They're so sneaky.
Yeah. Otherwise, Max probably still would have climbed back up. I no doubt in
I
my
mean,
mind
like,
that he would have.
But then saying that, he would have. But then maybe Red Bull were like, oh, but what if he doesn't? Like, what if he ends up just sitting in second and then he loses that streak? And that, would you call it a title? Title?
Yeah.
Achievement?
Well, Christian Horner was definitely like, this is, it was a team decision at the end. I was like,
the team minus Sergio and his
and minus Max.
race
Max
engineer.
didn't even know. Apparently, Max even asked, being like, did I purposely just undercut?
Really? I
They
didn't
just
hear
sent
that.
him out. There was so much chaos. Like, credit to Liam Lawson. He, his first F1 race overtook Charles. That's kind of special, being your first F1 race and being like, I overtook a Ferrari.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God. I would have been having a party in the car.
Party in the car. Party in the car.
Like,
Well, I wonder if they could actually hear some of like the EDM music playing. Like, imagine just like listening to like Tiesto while you're driving.
In all fairness to Charles, they did like retire his car like seconds after that happened.
Yeah.
So
He had, was it floor damage?
Floor damage.
Yeah.
I was just so frustrated. And then at one point when, like in the last 50-ish laps, Carlos Sainz was sitting in 3rd place. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then I was like, nope, it's not going to happen.
It's raining.
It's not happening.
Again.
No, there was
Not
some people it's just not
It didn't
happening for. Like the Hussers didn't happen for them. Lewis Hamilton, I did think pre-race after qualifying, he was going to finish in the points, and he did. And same with Oscar and Lando, and they did. They had a shit show of fight. Yeah, and then George still got his final lap time though, even though he retired early, which I was a bit confused about. Yeah, they still had up on the screen, but not quite. I think he hit who did he hit? Was it Joe
They
Guan
all
Yu?
hit each other
I know
at this
they
point.
all. I think it was he had a little rumble and tumble with Joe Guan Yu,
Love that.
or maybe it was Yuki. I can't even remember now. So much happened. It was like 10 races in one. Hands down, I reckon one of the best Grand Prix I've ever watched. Just for the entertainment purpose. I was not expecting that Woke up, jump on the bike, and then you're like watching it. I was like, whoa.
Like,
what's
wait a
happening?
second. I'm like, it's too early for this.
It's too early for so much excitement.
I mean, for me, it was 8 a.m., so that's fine. But
So
for
much
you,
going on.
not so much.
I was really certain that Carlos Sainz was going to get a podium. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Mm.
And then that didn't happen. So that was like my momentary favorite moment. But I think
Short-lived.
one of my favorite moments, but I think one of my favorite moments is regarding someone that was on the podium. Pierre Gasly.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Driver of the day.
Driver of the day. 100%. And Alex Albon.
Mm.
The way
Well, technically, yeah, I don't know why. I mean, yeah, Alonso did well, but I don't know. He won the official driver.
the way that Gasly held on, like the fights that he had, keeping his spot, like that was his first podium since Baku in 2021, I think it was. It was phenomenal, his performance.
Yeah. As you said, like great overtaking, good battles.
Yeah, but even lap 42, Pierre Gasly had an 8.6 second pit stop.
Yeah, because he had to do his
Time. He had a time penalty.
5-second time penalty.
And he still got on the podium.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, incredible. I mean, also, thankfully, Checo, because initially Checo came third, but then he had that 5 second.
I was going to say this. I was like, so Checo technically was third, but then he had his 5-second penalty. But that being said, Gasly, like, he deserved that a million times more than what Checo did, because just of his performance and how hard he fought.
I did feel bad for Checo though. I was like, he finally had a good race, and it was like,
well, he climbed back up again, but like that seems to be his specialty, like starting like the bottom 10 and then being like, woo.
take a shot
Back
for
up
every
here now.
time.
Yeah.
Sergio has
Gasly
to.
started in 12th position.
Yeah.
Like,
Insane.
that's incredible.
He did so well.
I mean, Alex Albon, he obviously started. He was at like, position 2 and 3, and then he slid right to the bottom of that grid, and then he climbed back up to 8 at the Wells. Like, so he also fought really hard. I mean, my favorite moment was definitely when Gasly was defending Carlos. I think it was around lap 15.
I loved watching that. That was fun.
And it was a great battle between Gasly and Carlos.
I actually don't know like what my favorite moment was. I think I just liked watching everyone come into the pits. And I was like, go, go, go.
I
And
know what
then
my favorite moment
it just-
wasn't. The red flag on like lap 65. It just brought back
60
Melbourne.
Wasn't it 60? Oh,
Whatever it was,
yeah,
62,
60-something.
65. Just
Yeah.
reminded me of Melbourne, and I was like, are they going to start back up? Like,
Yeah, but then because I started
it's a
under the safety car,
long wait.
they were all complaining about the tyres being
Yeah.
too cool.
It was a long wait to go back out. It was what,
It's raining
20?
so much, though. Like, they wouldn't have been able to get out there.
Mm-mm.
It was
Mm-mm.
barking down.
Well,
Like,
even the day before with the F2s, I think they had their sprint race. They didn't even get to finish their sprint race because it was so wet. They just called
Oh, did they?
they called
miss
it
that?
off. Yeah,
Did you
but
see
yeah,
the-
those crashes.
The
I was like,
crash? The 3 cars
It was
stacked
like-
up on top of each other.
they went like,
Yeah. Oh,
It was like a 2021 Monza.
yeah.
with
They were
Max
lucky
and Lewis
that no one was hurt
mounted the car.
in that one.
Yeah,
Ugh.
very lucky.
Obviously, that the Dutch Grand Prix put on some amazing performances, and I did love watching whoever that woman is that sung the Dutch Grand Prix, like at the podium, singing up to
Yeah.
Max, was
Her
phenomenal.
voice was incredible.
And she should sing every national anthem. She probably just needs to be Max's personal singer. But he was tearing up, and it was actually very emotional because he's obviously just realized that he's made history. He's up there with Seb Vettel. You know, there've been lots of conversations with Seb having messaged Max, being like, good luck, you can do it, and all that sort of stuff. Like, it was huge.
Yeah.
Like, that was
especially,
actually,
like, Vettel would have been one of his icons when he was growing up.
yeah.
Yeah,
was
exactly. I keep forgetting about the age bracket.
I know.
The age gap.
It was a goosebump moment, and Max is probably going to exceed that history that he's just made. Statistically,
But-
he's more likely to probably win the rest of the season.
Yeah, but then I think they were saying that when Seb made the record, that they thought that would never happen again,
Yeah,
and now here we
Wow.
are.
They didn't know what was for them.
Didn't know little Max.
I reckon Max is going to get to 12 in a row.
12.
That's my
12. Oh, let's bet on
little
it.
prediction.
Pat, what do you
I
think?
think he win. I think he might, it would be incredible. As obviously it gets a bit boring for us, but make it exciting for us and just win every single race for the rest of the season, and that would be insane.
It'd be pretty
Right, so
pretty
Pat's going
cool
for the rest of the season.
to watch a clean sweep.
Are you doing
I reckon I'm gonna.
Sweep, yeah.
Yeah, I reckon I'll go. I think you might not win one or two. I think there might be one or two he'll miss. I don't know what ones.
For some reason,
I don't
think
know.
Singapore and Las Vegas.
My thing is there's never anything wrong with his car. I think we were saying,
No.
I don't know, I can't remember when it was, but how we were saying every other driver, not every other driver, but most of them, they always have a technical issue or something will happen. It's the engine, the gearbox, something. But there's just never anything wrong with his car.
No.
It's just
It's not fair.
it's just perfect.
I thought at one point during the race, I was like, there's so much rain, he's going to skid out and knock his wheels off.
That's what I thought when he didn't box on
Yeah.
the second lap or whatever it was. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, what if it starts raining too much and he aquaplanes? Because
Yeah.
it was the top 10 didn't.
I did
pit.
think it was something that it wasn't going to be drastic, but it was just going to be one of those little things, very similar to George Russell, just a small thing that we just don't know that's happened. And then, yep.
I was surprised. Well, didn't he went off in qualifying or practice?
I think it was
He
both.
went into the gravel.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. But then he missed the barrier by this much. I was like, of course
Oh,
he misses the
no.
barrier. Oh no.
Oh no! You know what was so cute? His grandma there. I don't know if you guys saw.
That was so sweet. It's didn't Oscar Piastri's mum come and she mum, oh my God. Grandma
Yeah,
came
Melbourne.
and she
made,
baked cookies
yeah.
or something.
She baked goods for the McLaren garage.
So sweet.
What else was really beautiful was when, I don't know if you guys saw the images of Keka, Gasly's girlfriend,
Oh, yeah.
watching
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw
the
that.
one.
She was having a little moment.
sweet.
Oh,
She was
I'm
having
so
a moment.
happy the F1 is back.
What are we going to do when the season finishes?
I don't want to think about it. The only thing I'll think about is that it's summer, so
Yeah.
we'll be a little
Yeah,
bit more
exactly.
entertained that we'll have things on. We still are a doubleheader this weekend, so
Monza.
we're back in Italy. Pat,
Italy.
surely you are flying over. Tell us.
I am not flying over because I'm in Greece.
Ugh.
So close, but so far.
Yeah.
I reckon skip the wedding.
Yeah, skip the wedding. Go to instead.
And you just fell off her chair sneezing.
Excusez-moi.
Are you okay? Yeah, no, I will be in.
Just sneak over to Monza for even just qualifying.
Just
jump over,
Just go over.
and jump over to
Just meet
yeah, that would be
Peter.
great.
Meet Peter on the aisle. Get married, give him a kiss.
Yeah.
Be like,
So
bye.
this
I'll
is
be back.
good.
Wait here.
Yeah, that would be great. Look,
Mhm.
if Monza want to pay for my, let's say Monza GP or anyone listening want to pay for me to do a quick live coverage, I would totally do that. Peter, you
Anyone?
can wait for me. Anyone? That
Hello.
would be great. But yes, very excited for Monza. It's always an eventful race.
Well,
Mhm.
it's land of Ferrari. I mean, they hold the most constructors there.
I feel like there are
Constructor
so
Championship.
many
But
races where Ferrari holds the constructors there
and I feel like it's kind of embarrassing now.
because they're so bad.
Just with their performance. It was literally this time last week we were speaking about the Dutch Grand Prix last year saying, oh, Ferrari did this. They forgot his tyres and they left a tyre gun out and then they did it again.
Oh my God.
How do you not?
History repeats itself, doesn't it?
So how do we think Ferrari's going to go in Monza?
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's
Uh,
not. Let's just forget about
No,
Ferrari
they did
right
well.
now.
I mean, Verstappen won last year, and then it was Leclerc, Russell, Sainz. So technically, in our eyes, Ferrari got first and third in our eyes.
Yep.
But honestly, who knows? The pressure will probably get to them, and then they'll probably sneeze and I don't know.
Sneeze.
Seriously, the shoe and the garage will blow away. Like, who knows? So,
I mean, it is a very high speed circuit. So like drivers
it's
are
fairly plain.
drivers are at full throttle for 80% of the race.
Yeah.
It's like an average speed of over 300 kilometers.
There's not that many like little chicane turns
No.
or any hairpins or anything like that. It's pretty
It's
easy
just
going.
go fast because it's going to be like minimal downforce. So it's kind of like, let's look at the cars that are just really fast on straights. McLaren?
that's what I was thinking. McLaren, yeah.
I reckon Oscar's going to do well.
Yeah. I think it could be McLaren weekend.
What's the weather forecast?
Sorry, oh my God, I know it's rain.
Is it?
It'll
Yes.
be trouble.
Okay. Well, then if that's the case, I reckon Oscar likes the rain and he can push the car and he's not scared. So I reckon Oscar's going to be on the podium. I reckon this is.
That would be nice.
We're
This
going in with predictions
Yeah.
right now.
Yep, this is Oscar's weekend. I'm calling that he's going to be in the podium. But yeah, it's looking like it's going to rain, but it's going to be warm, 27 degrees. No, okay, it's just saying Sunday is going to be wet.
Is it just Sunday?
Just Sunday.
Monza tends to get
Oh, wait.
chilly.
Is this sprint weekend?
No.
No,
It's not? Okay. Oh my God, thank God.
no. So the order is we
the
just
job
normal
result.
race and qualifying and practice this weekend. It's a good timing for us here in Australia again. Kind of, if you want to stay up, it's 11 o'clock, so pretty much the same as
I don't
Dutch
mind
Grand Prix.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, none of us stayed up to watch it though.
I know.
Pat had to message us in the morning knowing that we would have just woken up being like, have fun watching.
Enjoy. I'm
Bye.
not saying anything, but wow, that was interesting.
You're saying nothing.
I had so many messages from people being like, that was the best race ever. And I was like, shut up, I've not watched it yet.
Yeah. I had one girlfriend that would always message me in the morning, be like, blah, 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 bloody this person. I'm like, I haven't watched it yet.
6 a.m. as well. I was like, why is like, I was busy.
I like my sleep.
Any other predictions for Monza this weekend? What do you want to see?
I want to see Liam Lawson in the points. I feel like it could be a good
yeah.
weekend for him to do that as well. Because it's a fairly, okay, I want to say simple
I was
track.
going to say simple.
But kind of simple track. Like there's not too many, as you're saying, like there's not really any chicanes or turns. There's no banked corners. I don't know. I can't decide.
I'm hoping we
actually.
get some Mercedes. I'm hoping for Mercedes, at least one Mercedes on the podium.
Yeah, I reckon Lewis will floor this. I reckon he's pissed off what happened.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't there? Was it a radio message by Lewis saying he was on like forecast to?
No, that was George.
Was that George?
Yeah, George said, I was forecast to be on a podium. What the fuck happened? Which is not wrong. And then Lewis just had a shocker of a weekend as well. So I reckon Lewis will want to fight on back. But this could be a good battle between Lewis and Max, actually.
Well,
Maybe
we
throw
all
Alonso
saw
Yeah.
that.
like on those straights, flooring those cars as fast as they can go. Ooh.
Mm.
Well, we all remember the crash that I mentioned before, where Max mounted Lewis.
Do we see that again?
Imagine.
Thank God for the halo.
Surely Max is going to set some sort of lap record here as well. I mean, there's been no update of that lap record since 2004, I think it is. So it's 20 years that Barrichello set that lap record.
Buddy.
20 years. Not bad.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, okay.
Not bad at all. Then Ferrari will just come in back.
Where did I go
Snap of
this
the
from
fingers.
then? I found this stat and it was like fastest lap in Formula One history was set in Monza, achieved by Kimi Räikkönen in 2018. So yeah, he did that. It's the fastest one in history, just not during a race.
Yeah. They don't count.
Yeah, because they
It's
don't
gotta be
count.
counted in the
Yeah, it has to be
race.
done in the race. So yeah,
Yeah.
fun fact.
There you go.
Kimi Räikkönen apparently have the same stare as him.
Oh, yeah. So, wow. What great feedback that was. Where is that? I need to read that out just for anyone.
Very
that,
funny.
we're loving the feedback that is coming in from everyone and how they're feeling about us.
We do love it.
We'd love some feedback.
So some of the feedback that's been coming in is I think this is like the funniest one that we've received so far. We put up an episode of our podcast and we said, don't wait until the weekend to listen. And they've said if they wait until the weekend to listen, they'll never make the podium. Patricia is like Alonso, playful in spirit, but knows how to win. Amy is
Raikkonen.
I can never say his name. Raikkonen. She can rock a cold ass stare, whilst also still being lovable. Ella's Ricciardo, all laughs and a tan, and an approachable persona, whilst low key knowing she's one of the boys. Yeah, the boys.
You are a boy.
Yeah, the
I'm like,
boys.
you're a boy's boy, but you're a girl.
I mean, he's kind of not wrong. I love this feedback.
You've got a nice tan, and you are all laughs. And I'm staring at you right now. Fuck, I have such a resting bitch face. I hate it. I'm like, no wonder people get scared of me when I meet them. People think I'm mean, and I'm like, I'm really nice.
Well, Pat knows how to win. She is Alonso, so you're on the podium celebrating.
Whew.
No, not that excited about winning on the podium this weekend.
Oh, for sure. I'm just, come on, put a bloody Ferrari up there. But yes, I'm Alonso.
You're Alonso on the podium. You're Ricciardo in hospital. I am Raikkonen on my yacht. Just tweeted, Helmut Marko says Ricciardo is likely to be ruled out for Monza and Singapore.
Oh, all right. So he's out for Singapore. Okay, there we go.
We'll get an approximate opinion from the doctor tonight. So can we tweet that now so we can report live? Thank you.
Yeah, Pat, off you hop to the hospital to get a live update, please.
Go, go, go.
Please. Thank you.
All right, well, we might leave it there for this week. It has been what a recap of the race. Pat, where can people find us and what do they need to do when they do find us?
Well, I think that they need to keep the conversation going. They need to message us. If they have any questions, any thoughts about the race or upcoming races. If anyone has any thoughts about Monza coming up, message us. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram, Paddock43 podcast. Also, we want those 5 stars.
We want more reviews.
Yeah, think of the most outrageous and fun review you can do.
Okay, here's a competition then.
We have nothing to give them.
I do.
Poor. Okay.
Well, okay, we are poor. But I will, if someone's in Melbourne, I will give them one of my GA tickets.
Oh, damn.
No, but for the rest of the season, they have to produce the best review across
the season.
Apple. The rest of this podcast season. And so
you're going to say, I can give them a box of hand sanitizer.
as in for the rest of the season.
For the rest of this season, someone has to leave a Apple podcast review.
And then we pick the best.
And we'll pick the best.
On our last episode.
Yep.
And you will win
good.
2 tickets or 1 ticket? 2 tickets.
Let's say 2.
2?
Yep.
Okay. Are you sure?
I don't know, but I'm now saying this out loud. So,
well, this is...
All right, 1, and you can come with me, and then maybe if I do decide not to go with you, you can have the other.
You're like, just in case I don't get into the corporate suite, I want my ticket back.
All right.
Oh, shit.
We're going to keep talking smack. All right, we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Or as we say, adios.
Adios, amigos.